next guest coming on is one of the brightest stars in the broadcasting business. She has quickly risen to be one of the best women's basketball analysts in our game. She's doing the game today on ESPNU, and she's going to come spend some time with us up here, LaChina Robinson. Does that work?
Testing, yes, it
okay,
still works.
We got it back working.
Great job on those fight songs. I was impressed. That was a good job. That was
yes,
that was
gotta
awesome.
have that kind of stuff.
I loved it.
You looking really nice.
Thank you. I wore a skirt today. So everybody take note. Usually I wear pants. It's a special occasion. This is a rivalry game, so I wore a skirt, okay?
Very
it's a
nice.
Special occasion.
Very nice. LaChina, are you in flats or heels?
I'm in flats.
So that 6'6" is legit.
Yes, it's legit. 6'4" with a little extra, little something, basketball height, 6'6".
Well, let's talk just a little bit about the game. And you've been doing your homework. Right, fun fact, LaChina has really cut her chops with the Atlanta Dream.
That I have. I've been with the Dream doing their broadcast since their inaugural season. So I was there before Angel got there, and then I've been there through the course of her career, and we've had a great ride in Atlanta.
So you've watched, you've seen Angel come in and develop and all that stuff, and yeah.
I'll tell you, I get to see all the best players in the WNBA. Candace Parker, Diana Taurasi, Cappie Pondexter, and Angel McCoughtry, let me tell you, is one of the best talents in the world.
Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah.
She really is.
Absolutely.
She's amazing.
Well, today, I know you've done a lot of homework on this game, preparing for it, and this is such a huge rivalry. Really, the records don't always matter. We know Louisville is 8-0, Kentucky's 4-1, but that's a tough loss at Baylor. But what should we expect to see today with these matchups and how both teams play?
Well, like you said, it's a rivalry game, so it's going to be a lot of passion, a lot of determination, a lot of just wanting to represent your school. So you're going to see, I think, a really hard-fought battle. But if I had to name the top two things to really keep an eye on, I've got two names for you. The silent assassin, Audia Mathis of the University of Kentucky. Definitely.
I'm not so sure how silent she is.
Hey, she doesn't say a lot, but she gets it done. And on the Louisville side, Showtime, Shoni Schimmel.
Yes. I tell you, when I came into town, the first thing I saw was a billboard when I was coming into downtown, and it was about Shoni. It was like Showtime or come see the show. And that's pretty. She is so unassuming, and all of a sudden she drops 30 on you.
I mean, she's so great with the basketball. You think that she's done, she has nowhere to go. Before you know it, she's made a behind-the-back pass for a layup, or she'll pull up right after half court and just chuck up a three, and it'll nothing but net. I mean, she's really fun to watch.
There's no limits to her range. She has the green light all the time.
Yes.
And being such a big rivalry game, Fred, this arena. When Fred came in and looked at it, he goes, "This is like a pro arena," and he's seen them all. Now, I mean, it's beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've been around a lot of NBA venues, and I tell you, this is fantastic. This is a fantastic place. I can't wait to get inside there and rock with both groups here, the blue and the red, and just have some fun here.
Absolutely. And Fred, in saying that, you've been in playing against the Fever in the playoffs, the last 3 years in the playoffs. How important is it for a home team to be playing a rivalry game at home?
It's very important because, you pretty much get the percentage of your crowd in because pretty much the home team buys up all the tickets and then they give the rest of the tickets somewhere else there for the blue.
Right.
But I know with both of these teams here today, it's going to be loud, and it doesn't matter how many tickets are sold. It's going to be loud both sides.
Absolutely, absolutely. LaChina, and in talking about the rest of the game tonight, the style of play, you're looking at Kentucky plays an up-tempo, high-octane. How will Louisville handle that style of play with how they play?
Well, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Louisville to handle the basketball against 40 minutes of dread, which is Kentucky's style of defense. And the important thing when you're facing Kentucky's defense is just to have poise and patience. And Shoni Schimmel, I think, is a point guard that does not get rattled very often. So how she performs against the defense, the decisions that she makes getting her team into the right position is going to be huge.
Absolutely. I think one of the keys to the game today will also be turnovers. Turnovers on both sides, and it normally is anyway in a game, but against Kentucky's pressure, can Louisville take care of the ball and not, just not keep handing it back against that pressure?
I'll tell you this, last year in this game, there were a lot of turnovers. I believe there were over 50 with both teams combined. So some of that is nerves in the first few minutes, just being anxious with the game. But some of it is both of these teams are actually very good defensively. They put pressure on you. They're going to attack you at all times, and you've got to make smart decisions, which it's easier to say from up here than it is to do out there.
Absolutely. When you've got those quick guards breathing down your neck and all that.
Absolutely.
And also, always the battle of the boards is so important. And you've got senior Monique Reed, even though she's undersized inside, she's going to have to go up against much bigger post players and be able to get on those boards today for Louisville.
Well, that's true. And that type of player, you got to put a player and a half on the boards against her. And, the stat that I saw was about free throws. They got to make free throws these type of games on a rivalry game because a lot of nerves, but also going to the boards, putbacks, rebounding, and then you said the turnovers. That is very, very important. So you're going to see an exciting game. This is a great crowd, great venue. I'm hyped. I'm ready to roll.
All right. It's interesting what Fred just said because it's coach talk, but he said you need to put a player and a half on Monique Reed. I mean, where's that half a player come from? And that's, it's, but it's just you've got to shade over from somewhere else to make sure you keep her off the boards because she's going hard to the boards.
Absolutely, and that other half player, it could be a guard, point guard, or someone who does not really go to the boards that much on defense. So, you just got to find a way to box out.
I think another interesting part of the game today, since it's early in the season, Louisville is 8-0. They've already played 8 games. Kentucky's 4-1. They've played 5 games. And we all know the early part of the season is about just getting your team through the game and trying to get that chemistry and figure out who you are. My question is this. Louisville, being 8-0, they've played 3 pretty tough games. They played at UT Martin, and that's a program on the rise. And they beat them really not till the end of the game. It was pretty tough. They beat Gonzaga, runs a tough motion offense. They beat them on the road. And then they beat Texas A&M here in a 2-point game, so that's a tough game. Is Louisville have a little more experience in their pocket than Kentucky does right now as far as the strength of schedule goes?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've played more games, you've had more opportunities to see your team, to make changes and things like that. But I think the difference that you may see in terms of experience is on the roster. Louisville is a fairly young team. I mean, when you look at the fact they start a junior, 3 sophomores, and a freshman, so that's very young. So they need some more of those reps where Kentucky is a little bit more of a veteran team. They've got more juniors, upperclassmen, 2 seniors. So Louisville probably needs a little bit more rep to start the season.
Yeah, so those 8 games probably benefit them a lot more. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes because this is really the first big test for Kentucky since the Baylor game. And that Baylor game wasn't a really good experience for them, other than you have to learn the lesson in that game, whatever Matthew decided the lesson was. That's what, there are many lessons, so hopefully that's good. Let's talk just a minute about, I know that Kentucky knows all about their team and Louisville knows about their team, but I want to talk just a minute about some other players that are out in the country today and having a good season. So I'm going to throw a player at you. And if you follow the women's game, do you remember a player named Jackie Stiles? Jackie Stiles played at a mid-major school, Southwest Missouri State. I think she's the leading scorer in NCAA scoring history. There's another young lady on the horizon, a senior at Oral Roberts University, Kevy Looper. Have you heard about her?
Absolutely.
Have you heard?
Yes,
She is a senior, and she's a very unassuming player. But if she stays on track with her scoring, she could break Stiles' record this year, or at least come in within the top 8. And I find it interesting that happens not often, a player of that caliber to score the ball. What are your thoughts about that, LaChina?
Well, I think not all the best talent goes to the big schools. You know, there's so much women's basketball talent out here now. Young women are starting to play the game even earlier, so there's more talent being spread all over the country. And so you think if someone's leading the country in scoring, they'd be playing at a Kentucky or a Louisville. But, I mean, hats off, Oral Roberts, and your ability there to develop players and someone who's obviously a lot of fun to watch.
And a player like that, Fred, as you go and you scout, is that a player that you would go watch just strictly to see if maybe she could be that scorer on your team like a Lori Kane is on the Atlanta Dream?
Absolutely. You look at players that will contribute something to your system. And, you know, if it's a scorer, if it's a rebounder, or somebody who can play great defense. But, you know, anytime you can find a scorer out there who can do it night in and night out, you want to go for that.
Thanks, Fred. Listen, LaChina's going to have to go do her real job right now, so let's give her
now.
a hand.
Hey, let's give Nell a hand. Isn't this awesome, being able to do this before a game?
Thanks,
Thank you
LaChina.
for having me.
Okay, do a good job.
You guys enjoy the game. Hey, I hope you're recording it at home, too, so you can go back and watch the broadcast.
There you go. Thanks, LaChina.